Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday and welcome to Open Office Hours. I am Crystal. I am part of the team here at Syncro. I will let the ladies introduce themselves.
Hey everybody, it's Tatiana. Welcome.
Hi everyone, it's Brandy. I'm happy to see you guys today. Tatiana, I'm loving your background. Love all the flowers, love the brightness. It's great for a Friday.
And I think you guys are matching today, which is also awesome, but I didn't get the memo. So thanks a lot.
You didn't get that message, Crystal?
I must not have. It must have gotten lost in Slack land. And we're missing Hannah today, but she's out having a nice time off. So that's wonderful. Good for her. Anyways, welcome. This is Open Office Hours. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, sorry for that intro. No, I'm just joking. But we're so happy that you're here. This is really just a great place to come and answer or get your questions answered. We will dive into anything from how-to questions to more in-depth workflow questions. So really nothing's off the table. We use the Q&A. So if you see us looking at a different screen, that's what we're monitoring. We use the chat internally to send you all links, or if we have videos on certain topics, we'll put that in the chat, and we just recommend to go ahead and click those out so you get those in your browser because they will go away when the session's over. And so other than that, that's kind of the housekeeping stuff. These are recorded. You can head to our YouTube channel. You can see anything that we've done in the past. These last couple of weeks, we had Webroot join us last week, and it was Bitdefender the week before. So those were cool, awesome sessions. But yeah, I think we're ready to get rolling. I see a question here from Chris. I haven't read through it yet. Have either of you read it? All right, let me go ahead and get this question in early. Yes. I'm sure this is a simple setting. I used the pending charges report to create invoices today, and it changed the status on the tickets to invoiced. I'd rather not have the status changed at all when an invoice is created. How do I stop this? So if one of you want to share your screen, because there is a difference between, and I don't know if you have to enable this, but on a ticket, there's like billing status, and then there's actual ticket status. And so when you create an invoice, it should only change. I thought it only changed the actual billing status, but I might be wrong.
Me too. I'm pretty certain I was looking too, because I knew that was something that we released. So I was just kind of looking at like the release notes, because I thought they did away with it altogether, the invoiced status, and then just changed it to like a certain billing status. So I'm pretty sure that is the invoice. Yeah. There is no longer an invoiced ticket status. So it would just be the billing status. I think you're right on that, Crystal.
It was the main status that changed, not the billing.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, if that's happening, maybe a quick maybe sending like a quick recording into our technical support, because I believe that's not by design since we released that.
He says it was the main status that changed. So yeah, it looks like January, and I can pop this in. Let me just drop this in the chat box too, just so you can kind of read about what changed. But we did do away with that altogether January. I wonder if it's his old tickets, because I don't think it changes past tickets.
It probably doesn't backdate. It probably does not. And oh yeah, if you were running pending charges, if they were tickets created before that. Yeah, hopefully that's all it is. Otherwise, if it's happening on new tickets, please send us a recording. We'll want to look at that. Never happened before. New tickets never happened before. Okay, yeah. If you can please report that's happening, because that's not by design. All right, Tatiana, do you want to grab this one?
Yes, absolutely. I have a question from Cindy. It says, hi, when I close a ticket that has a charge from last month, will it be added to my recurring invoice for this month? So yes, I'm going to share my screen here and show you what this is going to look like on the Synchro side, because it is with the recurring invoices through Synchro. If you're pulling in your pending ticket charges, it will it doesn't matter when that ticket was closed. It's as long as it has not yet been billed for, it will be added to the recurring invoice. So here in your recurring invoice section, again, I'm going to quickly reread your question. I think sounds like you're only billing for closed tickets or resolved tickets. So I'll show you the specific setting for that. Oops. So if you go to your invoices section, click into invoice modules, and then you have your recurring invoices section here. Go ahead and open the one that you are adjusting. And in the setting that I'm going to show you there's two different ways to do it. Just depends on, again, your preference. When you're pulling in your pending ticket charges, this is basically any time that you have charged to the ticket that has not yet been invoiced for will get wrapped into this recurring invoice for you. If you are only invoicing your customers for tickets that have been resolved or that have been closed, that's going to be here under the ticket status. You can say, I only want to pull in pending ticket charges that have been resolved. So you can put like resolved ready to invoice if you wanted that to be a custom ticket status for you. So that would be the way that you set it up. So again, it does not matter when the ticket was closed. As soon as it's closed and if it has not been yet billed for, this recurring invoice will scoop it up and wrap it into the invoice for you. So hopefully that helps, Cindy. Please let us know if you have any additional follow-up questions.
Awesome, thank you. Couple questions in here. So Andy says, I have a customer I lost sight of. It appears that another MSP has installed Syncro, thus blocking me. A company didn't bother to tell me, but I had alternate access and found out. My question is, how do I now uninstall or disable Webroot to avoid being billed for it through the Webroot portal? So a couple of things with that. I didn't think you could install Syncro on more than one device, or maybe it's just that it doesn't work properly. You couldn't have two Syncro agents on one device. So if that's occurring and there's like an error there, please let our support team know. A couple things in terms of the assets itself. So you can go ahead and disable, like I could delete that asset. If you select the asset and you delete it, that will remove the Syncro agent and Webroot. If Webroot was installed on the policy. Now, if you are using Webroot through Syncro, if you go into the policy that device is on and then you go disable it, you'll no longer be billed for it. It's purely based on usage each month. If you're doing it through Webroot and it's not Syncro managed, that would be done through Webroot. We don't have access to that, but if it is Syncro managed, you would just do it right here in the portal and you would no longer, or excuse me, in the policy, and you would no longer be billed for that. So if you need any further clarification on that, please reach out to our support team.
David says, Synchro installer tells you when there's a conflict with another RMM if it's already installed. So that is kind of.
Does it allow? I'm curious if it allows you to do it or not. But I do appreciate that information. He said he found it when he tried to reinstall it on a couple agents. Yeah, thanks for spotting that one, Tatiana. And thank you for your help there. It did not allow him to install it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. And I think I had another one in here I was going to grab. So Gary is asking about a QuickBooks issue. So in terms of something like that, and this kind of goes for anything, as much as we would love to be able to help you guys with like a sync or anything like that, that you're having an error on, we would recommend reaching out to support. We don't have access to the integrations, one, or to seeing your instance or anything that's connected there. So any technical support related issue or something not working properly, that would definitely need to be geared at our support team. Sorry about that. Would love to help you though.
All right, I'm going to grab just a couple really quick. Rob was wondering, is there a way to add a surcharge if someone wants to pay by credit card? So that is not like like a setting that if they're paying by credit card, it automatically puts a charge on. I don't necessarily know if that's something that we're planning on putting on the roadmap. I know there are some restrictions when it comes to the integrations with credit card processors that disallows us from doing that. You can, of course, create like a line item that you can add. So if you want to charge, you know, $3.50 or something like that, whatever it is, like you could add that as a line item, but it's not going to do it automatically as of today. And then Chris, from your earlier question, I see in ticket settings, there is an option checked, use invoice ticket status in addition to ticket billing status. Maybe this should not be checked. Correct. Yep, you're right. Spot on. I think we found the issue there. The other thing I was going to just say is, Jason, on your question that you asked a while ago, I was just looking into it. I was just checking different reports. I think this is a feature request as of right now. I know that like what I was going to look at was in the customer detail report, it does like show like all time, like everything that a technician has done over a certain amount of time, but it's not like you can't specify specifically pending charges for the customer. So I think at this point, I'll keep looking, but I think that's a feature request at this point.
Can I just chime in real quick on Andy's question? So he said, I suspect my instance of Syncro was uninstalled. So I actually want to share something that sometimes people don't know we have, and this doesn't help today, but it would help moving forward. If you would like to, in the policy section, if you would like to have a code, a device uninstall code, meaning, okay, they have to enter this code that I create for them to be able to uninstall, that would eliminate someone like clicking around and, oh, I have no idea what this is, I'll just uninstall it, or like you said, what had happened. So I would definitely recommend requiring a code because people get click happy sometimes.
Yeah, such a good point. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Crystal. I have a question here from Darren, from David. Says, I'm using QuickBooks Desktop and now not online. Is there any way to export or Synchro invoices with my desktop version? Yes. Yes, you can. Yep. We do integrate with QuickBooks Desktop. I'll drop the KB into the chat box for you. You can definitely set that up. It uses the QuickBooks Web Connector tool, and any invoices created on the Synchro side will sync over to QuickBooks Desktop. You can email from there, accept payment from there, do whatever else that you need to. So yes, you do not have to duplicate those invoices in QuickBooks Desktop. I have another, I'll grab kind of the ones that I have selected. Question says we are, whoops, kind of jump around here sometimes. We are having issues with sales tax. Is there any way to get sales tax to automatically be added by the ship to address? This one is pretty popularly requested. I know QuickBooks has this feature. Through Syncro, we don't have this built out at this time. I'll show you once you do set up your tax rates. I think this is just going to be one of those steps that you'll have to take when you're initially onboarding the customer, is once you have built out your tax rates, and even bundled tax rates over in the admin section, when you're onboarding a new customer and you're building out this customer profile, you would have to go ahead and just add that tax rate just immediately right out of the gate to make sure that it's properly billing. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to kind of pick up where they're located and then correctly attribute the tax rate that way, but hopefully getting it set up right out of the gate at the beginning is a good way to go. And then I have, I think, another one here from Daniel. Are we able to add custom fields to the ticketing system on the icon that runs on the taskbar? So I'm going to share my screen here and I'll show you what custom fields functionality is available with that system tray icon. So I'm going to open a couple tabs here. I'm going to try to keep this nice and clean, but we're going to look at what this looks like from the customer's perspective using the backgrounding tools. So this is the system tray icon that you guys can customize to provide the options that you want to your customer to choose from. Your logo can pop into here. This menu is completely customizable by you. Where custom fields come in is usually is only via the agent contact form here. So if you have them fill out this form, again, your logo here with whatever issues they're experiencing, they can include a screenshot, submit the request. That'll pull in a ticket into Syncro with the asset attached, which is super handy. Where the custom fields come in is when you're initially building out that agent contact form. From your perspective, as the business owner, as the technician, you can attach custom fields to pre-fill what that ticket is going to look like when it gets submitted or when it gets imported into Synchro, if that makes sense. So once the ticket is created, you can say, so here's that same support request that I just showed you guys from this perspective right here. But on your side, as the technician, you can say, I also want to include a custom field that says, virus removal, that will attach a worksheet, which will provide a checklist of things to do for your tech once that ticket is generated inside of Synchro on your side. So again, from your customer's perspective, there isn't a way to add more custom fields from the form of what this looks like. This is pretty set in stone from their perspective, but from your side, you can add certain custom fields for extra functionality of what that ticket will look like once it is generated on your side inside of Synchro. Hopefully that is what you were after there. Let me know if you have any clarifying questions. And then I think the last one, oh, yep, Gary, I got you. He says he wants to add a surcharge to someone who pays by credit card. So yes, there is a way to do that. There's kind of a workaround for it just because sometimes it's, I think, based on some industry standards or maybe some payment processors, they frown on adding like passing along that charge. At least that's what I've heard before, but I'll show you, you can use a workaround through Synchro by kind of reverse engineering our discounts section here. So if you go to more, product and services, open the product detail. I called mine credit card fee, description is pass the cost along. I did a -% discount here. So 3%, update the product. So then you would just add this as a line item to an invoice and it would collect that as a percentage that you specify here and bill at that rate. So that's it. Those are all the ones I grabbed.
Awesome. Okay, I've got I think just a few here that I picked up. Darren, how do I get my default Bitdefender policy to install when Synchro RMM is installed instead of the default repair tech policy? So when you're installing Bitdefender from the policy, you have like some things that you can enable on the policy side, but essentially once that endpoint shows up in your Gravity Zone portal, you can just assign your Gravity Zone policy to those endpoints, and it should automatically just take on that Bitdefender policy. So as long as those endpoints are showing up in Gravity Zone and you can apply policies there, that's the way to do that. And then as far as the Windows updates, yes, I see that you have Windows updates management policies to apply, certain updates on a weekly basis, certain updates on a daily basis, which is awesome. Glad that is how you've got that set up. As far as the actual version updates, as of today, that is still you would have to run a script to update the actual big version updates. So I know that's requested often, so happy to pass that along, but you're not missing anything as of today. It does have to be done via scripting. Did I grab anything else? Oh, Christopher, is there a way to import Active Directory users into client contacts and sync that when users are added or deleted? So I know that there have been people that have successfully figured out Zapier of how to, I know that it's not going to be a two-way. I don't think it's ever going to be a two-way sync, but I know that's been figured out, natively built in. That doesn't exist as of today. You can import your contacts from a CSV, but the actual integration with Active Directory is not there as of today. I think that's all I grabbed for right now.
Awesome. I will go ahead and take a few. Let's see here. So Gary is asking, is there a KB article for best practices for Chocolaty? I see the website has great information, but would like to see how other people are using it. So we have a knowledge base on how to use Chocolaty. It's not necessarily a best practice. So if anyone has any best practices, feel free to drop those in there. Excellent community online, Facebook group, subreddit, great place to ask others what they're doing. Had a demo with someone this week and he's like, I want to know best practices for the system tray menu. And I like pointed in that direction. There's a nice article there where people were sharing things. So there's not a best practices KB, but definitely one on how to utilize Chocolaty. And I would take advantage of Chocolaty, you guys, because there's like 8,500 applications that you can use to install. So definitely check that out. Jason is asking, what's the best way to create recurring tasks or tickets for each of our clients for quarterly audits of hardware and things like that? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you here. And I'm going to open up a ticket. So you can create a recurring ticket. You can actually just take any ticket that you have and you go to actions and just make that recurring. So if you want to have like your quarterly audit and you even have like a worksheet or whatever it is that you want to have on there, you can absolutely create your recurring tickets. So any ticket that you've created, you'll just go in and make it recurring. And then in the admin section, I think under tickets, there's a way to see all of your recurring tickets. Yes. So you can see if there are any here. Go into any of those. You can see when it's going to run next. You can see the details too. So custom field types would, of course, assign the worksheets as well. So if you did have that list of questions you'd like to ask, really, really like those. And then I also see a question from Rob. So is there going to be some development to allow Mac scripts to use field contents in the same way that the PowerShell scripts work? Not 100% certain on the scripts, but I do know that we have a lot of exciting things coming for Mac. No ETA on that, but definitely stay tuned because it's a high priority for the company. And Larry is asking, is there a way to force your system tray to update, like when you change the icon or add fields? So I'm already sharing my screen, so I don't need to do that. In policies, I actually created, like if I go in here and I just display some text and I just put, hi Larry, and I save changes on this policy, it's automatically going to update devices that are within this policy here. Let me just go ahead and launch. I guess I could have clicked into there. Let me just launch a session and show you. It should have updated automatically because when you do add new items to the system tray menu, those do update automatically. So you'll see that text here. In terms of actually updating the icon, sometimes that does take a full sync or reboot of the device if I'm going in and changing the ICO file. But if you guys are adding anything in the policy, that's a quick way. I think we even said one of the quality of life features people want is just like an automatic sync. And I do think that's something that's coming. But if you come in here and make any update in your policy, it automatically pushes a sync to those devices. So definitely want to utilize that. And then Rob is asking for Splashtop remote access. We're prompted to enter a login and password on the machine we're trying to access. I thought RMM was to act similar to the original Synchro remote desktop. It is. So all you'll need to do in the policy itself that those devices are in, you probably have it selected to where you have attended access. So under remote access, you might have this option selected. If you unselect that, you should have unattended access, meaning you can go remote in whenever you need to without a password. And Larry, I think this is the last one I grabbed in here. Is it possible to assign a default server and workstation policy to a client? So each client would have their own policies if needed. Client, assuming you're referring to the customer. So I just want to say stay tuned because policy inheritance is going to essentially have a policy for that customer. And then you can have like your subfolders for workstations, servers, things like that. I will drop the video for policy inheritance, the deep dive in the chat box for you. And that's it for me for now.
Phew, that was awesome. Thank you. I'm going to go through a few of these real quick. Rob, I think this is a feature request. Also, there's a short code, that's hard to say, short code called invoice payment method. Is there a code to display the reference number? You see the invoice check number. So I think that would be a request to add that tag in there. So we're happy to pass that along. I've got that written down. I grabbed Jason. I'm not sure I understand the question, so I'm just going to answer the question that I think you're asking. Any ETA on that feature request or the schedule of your updates? So I'm assuming of Synchro's updates, like when we release updates for you to be able to schedule those. I don't have any sort of ETA or I don't know anything about if that's being looked into. I'm not positive on that one, Jason. If I'm answering the wrong question, please follow up. The other one, I love this. So why the octopus as your emblem? Just curious. It's really fun. I got to like be in this like brainstorming session when one of our people on the marketing team were designing, and we went through all sorts of like really cool iterations and ended up with the Octo. My interpretation of it is that octopus are like incredibly smart, but they've got all of these arms and they're doing everything all at one time. And the idea of Syncro is that we're an all-in-one platform that does everything you need. And it's like having all of these additional arms to help you out. And also it's fun and I love it because the color is my color. And now I can decorate my office and buy a bunch of clothes that all match. So I definitely voted for it. Let's see. Oh, link. This is nice to just hear. I like to use the Synchro install Chocolaty script. I do this before I install anything with Chocolaty. Cool. Thank you. And then Gary, yeah, great call. I'm going to put in the chat box right now. We do have a status site. So if I would definitely recommend just hopping over. I put the link in the chat. You can subscribe to the channel. So if we are experiencing any downtime or anything like that, you can subscribe and get all your information there. I think that's it.
Okay, it's my turn. I have quite a list here. You guys are on top of it with all these questions. So thank you for being here. This is super fun for us. I'll take the first question from Gary. He says, can you explain what the invoice ticket template is and the relation to invoice templates? You can create multiple invoice templates and assign them to customers. What about invoice ticket templates? So I heard back from Bobby from our technical support team who helped me out with this one. He says the invoice ticket template is more akin to a subscription of the invoice. Think of it of like a table that would appear on the invoice via a tag. So it's more meant for folks that are creating a one-to-one ticket to invoice situation, which for a lot of you guys, you are usually creating tickets, creating, and then invoicing for all of them in bulk towards the end of the month if you're on an MSP type of model, or even if it's break fix, you're probably not just immediately billing right exactly after each ticket is closed. So again, it just sounds like there's a little bit more flexibility there, but for most of you guys, MSP folks, probably not going to be using that type of a model very regularly. Below that, I have a question from Patrick. Says, can I create a workflow for a specific client onboarding requests to ensure that nothing gets lost in the sauce, assigned to a specific individual, assigned an ad hoc worksheet, et cetera, et cetera. So this, I love this. There's a lot of requests in here. I'm going to share this my screen because I don't share this feature very often on demos just because there's a lot of things to cover, but we do have a ticket workflow through Syncro. You can't really assign it on a customer per customer basis, but I'll show you this because if there's specific steps that you need to take when you're, for example, onboarding a brand new customer, I'm going to click into this one that says new customer workflow. What this workflow does is basically compresses all of the possible things you might need to do when you're onboarding a new customer and just fills it out into one single page for you to make it as easy as possible to onboard them as quickly as possible. So you can literally set up the customer, the contact, all the details, create a ticket for them, add a section, and build out an appointment for when you need to go on site to get the machines all in order, set up a worksheet of like an active checklist that you need to take of onboarding a new contact or whatever it might be. So again, this is going to be a workflow that you can build out through Syncro, which is going to be separate from our ticket worksheets that we have available. So I'm going to click into one of these and I'll show you. Worksheets also cannot be assigned on a per customer basis. Unfortunately, I do hear that request pretty often, but you can attach them to tickets. You can use like a more specific naming convention of like Larry's onboarding new employee setup, something like that. But unfortunately, that cannot be attached to customers at this time. I do hear that pretty often, so I'll pass it along to the team for you. So I think those are going to be the two best ways to consider when onboarding new clients, is either using the workflow of compressing all the steps and building out that customer profile, or on a ticket basis, if you're just, they hired an employee, you need to get them set up and you want to make sure you're not missing any steps, using the worksheet regarding that. Then I'm going to kind of skip around here because I know I have other questions regarding the worksheets I wanted to address pretty quickly. Oh, Rob, this one's for you. He says, on a ticket, how can you add to-dos on an ad hoc basis? Same setup. Instead of when you click add new, pulling in the template, just use the ad hoc worksheet and say on the fly. All right, and then just kind of build out the text checkbox drop down, or kind of organize it in the paragraphs as you need. This will just be for this one specific ticket. There isn't a way to save it to your collection of worksheets, which is another question that I saw in there. Darren, this one's for you. He said, if I edit a worksheet in a ticket while working inside a ticket and save the changes, it will save in the ticket. However, to an existing master worksheet template, it will not change. Can these changes be saved to the master worksheet template without having to redo all the edits to it? Unfortunately not. If you know you're going to be making some pretty huge changes, you're right. You would need to go to the admin section here under your tickets, and then build out and make the edit to this kind of source of truth here, this master ticket worksheet, and then pull it into the ticket and then make any, fill it out as necessary. So I hear that one as well, Darren. I'll pass it along for you. So I think those are all the ones I had that are related to worksheets specifically. I'll grab just a couple more here. David
Tatiana,
said,
just real quick, sorry, there was one more in there that I saw from Jason. It was just kind of a feature request, but having the worksheets be customer specific. And I'm just thinking, like, as a workaround, obviously you could use a custom field type like Larry's business, and then every time you select that custom field type, his worksheet would populate, and you could just clone them and make like differences that way if you wanted to make them customer specific. So yes, today there's not like a default one for a customer, but you could definitely create like different custom field types that automatically pull those in.
So good. Yes, absolutely. So what Brandy's talking about here is here in the custom fields, if you just click edit and then click manage fields, you can attach worksheets, which are these to-do lists, checklists, to a specific custom field like Brandy's saying here, and then make sure that it will pre-populate. So like if I click, what's a good example? Edit, let's see, if I say child ticket, or I think we already have virus removal attached, but if we were to save it, it would basically make sure that that worksheet populates for you guys automatically. So yes, so good. Let's see, two other questions super quick. David says, I just posted this question to the Facebook user group, but maybe you can just verify and answer while I get that I got there. Does running a PowerShell script as system bypass the UAC elevation prompt? So I did get a response from Frank from our support team who said it should. The service runs with elevated privileges, so it doesn't require an AUAC prompt. So there you go. And then Jim says, can you explain how to save a credit card payment for recurring invoices? Jim, this is going to be completely dependent on which payment processor that you use. So I dropped a KB into the chat box for you. There's two that we integrate with that will do automatic credit card payments, and those are, you can either choose Stripe or WorldPay, both will work. Basically, once you set up the integration with either WorldPay or Stripe, it will ask you to build out a customer payment profile in Syncro. And then once you have that piece in place, you just add it to the recurring invoice the one time, and then the customer is going to be billed on a regular basis. I don't even have a good example. I don't have Stripe set up on my account, but you will pop it into the actual recurring invoice section here by choosing the correct payment profile for that customer. There'll be like a whole new section added in here once you have those settings enabled. So again, for those details, take a look at that KB that I attached. I think that's it. That's it for me.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take a few of these. So Christopher says, we're noticing that tickets are not being created when we receive an email with just a voicemail file attached. So I can only think of a couple things, and without knowing your individual settings, it's a little bit tricky, but in the admin section, if you want, every email that comes in could create a ticket if you have it set up like this, to where, okay, we're always going to create a ticket. Now you might have it set up to where it's only for existing customers, and whatever service you're using that would send in your voicemails, that could be a possibility of why it's not creating. I'm not sure. I think we'd have to take a look at a few more settings, which we wouldn't be able to do, but the support team could maybe assist you with something like that. Or if you want to further clarify, let us know. David is putting me in my place here because yes, I was a space cadet whenever I read Rob's question about the attended access. I'm over here talking about, oh yeah, you can remote in without a password, talking about attended access, but you're referring to like if it's locked and the user hasn't logged in for the day. Yes, Synchro cannot bypass that. So thank you, David, for letting me know. Rob, I apologize for that. If it is locked and it requires a login, Splashtop nor Synchro Live can bypass that, which is why I type in a password every morning to get into our machine. So yes, thank you. That was an early Friday question. So thank you for that. Jason is saying, referencing the change to reports to improve the details of invoices. You mentioned it was a feature request. Is there an ETA on that? So no, it's just something that we would request for you today. There's no promises on something like that. We don't have like a public schedule. We don't share the details that way, but I can tell you we internally do have a schedule. We don't just like pull a feature and okay, let's do it. We are like thought out 12 plus months. Of course, that can shift and change, and we can add new things in between just based on the industry and what we need. And he loves all the new development. It's really frequent. It's really rapid. It's exciting. But we definitely don't have anything that we share publicly or like it happens every Friday. It's kind of like all over. Depends on like how huge it is and stuff. And I think we're about to start up the community track requests all over again. So if you're in the subreddit or the Facebook group, it's super exciting. If you're new to Synchro, I think there's quite a few people who have just joined us over the last couple months. So those are really exciting. Get in on that. It's small quality of life features, but we were like shipping one every week or every 2 weeks from the community. So that's always fun. Rob says, request, could we have a field called website as a standard field for customer information? So you can do that right now today. So it would just be a custom field and that would populate for every customer. So in the admin section, you'll go to customers and you'll go to customer custom fields. And then you could just create a new field that says website. Whoops, that's going to drive me nuts. And then I could just make it a text field and I'm going to go ahead and create that customer field. So now if I go type in a customer name, you should notice that that field will be in here amongst all of the different custom field types. Oh my gosh, we have so many. It's right here. We need to clean that up probably, but yep, you can absolutely do that and it'll automatically populate for each of your customers. So hopefully that helps.
All right, I will go here. David's asking, is it on the roadmap to allow custom colors for portal and our tray icon? None of the choices match my branding. Bummer. Okay, we do get this request often. I know that it's not something that I've seen on the roadmap as of today, but I will for sure pass that along because I know we've heard like what's the Vex, is that what it's called, the like that color? Yeah, Brandy, did you have?
Custom colors. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, because
Wait, you can change it, but.
You can definitely change it. You can add your own custom icon to the system tray so that it's, but there's like a background color and things like that. So yeah, totally hear you. We have heard that before. And Rob, I don't have an update for Sophos. We don't have that integration on the roadmap as of today. So I don't really have a great update for you on that. And then I've set leads to automatically generate tickets, so I never visit the leads module. I went there yesterday and found every lead I've ever received with the status lead converted to ticket. Is there a way to automatically clear those leads? So I just looked in the settings. I don't see any way to automatically clear them. You can, like, there's in the advanced search, you can look at like only leads that have not been created into a ticket. So you can like filter what you're looking at, but not I didn't find an automatic get rid of those leads. And then I was going to just grab this one from Christopher. I was looking at something right before I grabbed this. So the question is, do patches and script commands stay in a K and run when the asset is online, or is there a timeout and we would have to run them again when the asset is online? So with scripting anyways, you can choose to just skip offline assets. Otherwise, it will run when it comes back online. Like that's by design. What I was bringing up was if a reboot is required. So now I'm looking at Windows patches, for example. And I thought there was a setting, if offline, run at next boot. It's the same, it's essentially the same thing. So you can choose to, if it's offline, it'll just skip it for the Windows patch management, or there is a setting, if offline, run at the next boot. So hopefully
And you can have those delay for the third party or for the Windows patching.
Mm-hmm.
If it's offline, you can have it delay like a certain amount of minutes when they turn back on.
Yep. And then before I mute, because I just see this one in here, Sentinel one, not on the roadmap as of today. And then Gary's noticing he's got the same issues with the leads module. Yep, I do think there's kind of like a leads module overhaul at some point on the way. So that's good feedback. Thank you.
Yes, and Evan, in the custom fields, there is a web link, so it could be a URL rather than a text field. Yep, good call.
Good stuff. Evan says, last night a customer was having some electrical work done in their building, so we had to shut down everything. I scheduled a script in Synchro to shut everything down, and it worked great. It's awesome. Says, but I got 7 billion alerts. 7 billion alerts about all their servers being offline. I thought there was a way to easily suppress offline alerts for assets you are expecting to be offline, but I'm not finding it. Let's take a closer look. Sorry you went through that. 7 billion alerts is not fun. Okay, so there's 2 ways that I think can help. You can test this, figure out which one's going to be easier for you. If you go into any policy and click into the policy that's monitoring the servers, you could click into here and just delete out this agent status notification, because if it's blank, it will be disabled. Like it doesn't, usually this is like, if it's off for 1 minute, I want it to keep telling me every minute that it's off, and it will keep telling you over and over and over again. You can auto resolve when clear. There isn't a setting that will tell you like, hey, it's online, back online, but it'll just kind of stop alerting you that it is offline. So maybe use this button or completely disable it. Or the third option would be here in the alerts section through Synchro. If you test it with 1, so like let's pretend this is the offline alert, you can then go into mute and then say, I want to mute it for 1 day, not just for that asset, but for all assets. So again, I don't know which one's going to be easier for you, which one you prefer, but those would be the sections that I would look at to hopefully avoid that next time. Just like that, the queue's empty. Oh, nope, spoke too soon. Second option looks perfect. Yeah, you got it, Evan.
Good.
We did it. It's clear.
Okay, bye. I'm ending this. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, Gary says shutting down servers next time, use a script to shut down in maintenance mode for X amount of time.
Oh, good. Yes. Love that.
Yeah, we added PowerShell. Yeah.
There's a little button.
Yeah. Yep. That was awesome. I was just looking at that video that Andy did.
Wait. I missed that video.
I'll show you.
The button?
Yeah, so in your scripts here, just any script, there's enable maintenance mode options.
What?
So
I completely missed that.
And then you have a duration.
I thought it was the other maintenance mode option that we already had built in. I didn't realize this was a whole new thing. That's so cool. Look at that. That's freaking awesome. Yay.
Love it. I love when it's crazy because, you know, we're in the software every single day, but we do release things so often, and they're really, really cool things. Like that is like very useful. All right, Christopher, can we monitor network devices, Snmp, without relying on an asset? You have to have a Synchro agent on an asset on the network to be able to utilize SNMP. So no, there isn't a way to do that without relying on an asset. Go ahead, Brandy.
Yep. Zindy is asking any way to make sure that emails from a certain domain, for example, xyz@xyz.com, are creating a new contact for the specific company instead of creating a new company. Yes, this is one of my favorite things because I feel like nobody ever finds this when they're in their trials. So if I go to a customer, you're going to have one custom field by default already set up in your account. So if you edit a customer and you go to custom fields, you're going to see email domains. If you add a domain here, so at xyz.com, this will automatically create a contact for you if you get an inbound email. So that just eliminates, you can also do it through email rules, but this would eliminate you having to create an email rule for everyone.
Thank you, Brandy. Chris says, any plans to integrate with Datto, for example, BCDR or network device alerts, workplace? We integrate with Domots, which does network mapping, network topology, all of that good stuff. I personally haven't heard of any other new network integration types of tools, but it doesn't mean that there isn't something on the horizon. Most of our, here, I'll share my screen. Most of our apps in our App Center have been built out by those companies outside of Syncro because enough of their users ask them to be like, please build a Syncro integration because we use Syncro and we would love to see the products work together. So this is the one that I'm talking about, Domots. Somebody asked me on a demo this week, they were like, did you say donuts? And I was like, no, it's Domots.
I wish.
That sounds like a really great software company name. But anyways, Domots is what a lot of people use for like network discovery. So they are already available. If you're curious, there you have a free 21-day trial if you want to check them out. But beyond that, I haven't heard of anything new coming in that space specifically.
And Link said, Domots has an excellent Syncro integration and can provide SNMP monitoring without a Syncro agent via their Domots box. So yes. And then Craig says, does it add devices into Syncro? So it does have network discovery and network deployment too, right? So it would add the device into Syncro. Yep. Jason says we can't get Splashtop to work on Macs through Syncro, so we can remotely connect unattended. Should that be working? Not yet, but soon. Stay tuned. A few weeks probably.
Yes. Hang tight. Oh. It's so funny. I think I met Link the first conference I ever went to.
Oh.
Yeah, I met Link for like I think that was like 4 years ago. So Link and we go way back. But he's full of fun facts like that. I like that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Jason. Cool. All right. We're winding down. Just wanted to give the heads up that there's anything in the chat that you want to make sure that you click on when I end this Zoom, it will go away. Just want to remind you to do that. Let's see. What should we talk about? We've got 10 minutes. Anyone? Bueller? Jeez.
What's everyone doing this weekend? No. Let's see here.
Oh, let me do this so it doesn't.
What about a poll?
Yeah, I was just gonna do that. Let's go. Launch polling.
Long weekend here. Exciting, Chris. Hopefully you're doing something exciting.
Let's talk about crypto.
Crypto. I can't talk about crypto.
Doing it. Oh, that's funny. Well, I went paddleboarding last week and paddled right into like literally probably 15 feet from a moose. And that was exciting and kind of crazy. And
Crystal lives in the woods.
That's why I like, yeah, my internet's all glitchy. I don't even have fiber internet. Yes. So
Ooh, Chris,
what play?
tell us everything. That's so cool.
No, Synchro does not support crypto payments.
Very cool. I think it's always interesting to see what folks who are in the IT industry are using to express like the creative side, because I feel like so much of it is like on the technical level of like this button has to do this thing in this way, like it's such like granular analytical. So when I hear things like on the Synchro team, we have a lot of people who are musicians and just like phenomenal, super talented. So to me, it's always like, always curious to see how people balance out that analytical side with more of the creative side.
Yes. Patrick wants to know, how often does the dashboard refresh? I feel like I've asked this question so many times. Does anyone know right off the top of their head?
I believe the assets in RMM dashboard actually refreshes live. Like you actually don't even have to click the refresh button. If an alert comes in, it will pop into there immediately.
That part does. There's certain pieces that are like once an hour. A big sync is like once every 6 hours.
Yeah, I do. I think that like especially like time to resolution and things like that. That's not, I mean, it's not going to like actively update. That is one of those things that it's like, it's similar to just different syncs. Some like on the agent, some obviously alerts are in real time. The agent updates a certain, like different things update every 6 hours. So there's a lot of nuances, and I don't have like a very specific answer on that. Rob, is there any option to void an invoice instead of deleting it? It depends if there has been a payment taken or not. If there's not been a payment, you can just delete it. But if there is a payment, it has to go through the void process. You cannot just delete it if there's been a payment applied to the invoice. Oh, yeah, does anyone want to grab that one? Oh, cool. You're muted.
You're muted.
I just wanted you guys to figure it out. Just, read my lips and okay, so migrating an estimate to an invoice. Absolutely. So let me just share my screen with you here. Let me open up an estimate. Cool thing about estimates is you can turn this either into an invoice or a ticket. Totally up to you. Some people want to just turn this right into an invoice because it doesn't like flat rate, it's going to be this cost. So once you have your estimate, you can just go ahead and convert this into an invoice right here. There's a click of a button. There's also a way to turn this into a ticket if this truly is an estimate, and then you're going to go add like time and materials and things like that. One cool thing, I love to show people this. So if you are adding products in the system, you have this thing called upselling. So anytime you add certain products, and I can show you guys how to do this, but for example, if I'm going to sell this tower, I'm going to ask it, do I want to purchase this Razer mouse, this power cable? So it pops up for your technicians to ask the end user if they would like to purchase that. So maybe they're purchasing a new device and you want to ask, hey, do you want the MSP services, things like that. You can add those on. So how you do that is actually in the products and services section. When you go create an item or take any you already have, there's a tab called Upsell Opportunities. So anytime you sell this product, it's going to pop up and ask if you want these. But yeah, estimates, you just one click of a button, turn those into an invoice. You do have a feature to where you can allow your customers access to approving and declining estimates from their portal too. So hopefully that's helpful.
Awesome. Very helpful. Oh, well, this sounds similar to me. I tend to open a lot of browser windows and then close them all quickly, which also closes my Synchro window. What are other people doing to isolate the Synchro app from other browser windows using a different browser? Question mark. Anyone? because I do that all the time. Evan wants to know, am I the only one that consistently makes changes to the estimate line items, then loses said changes because I didn't hit save before moving to another field? Bummer. Pin the Synchro tab, says Bob. I love this like active conversation that's happening.
I know, me too. I am queen of like, I love tabs. I like to have all the tabs in the world out. And man, when I have to restart, and sometime I know I like how Chrome will reopen them, but sometimes I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that's the reason why it crashed. I don't know.
My machine stopped asking me that.
Oh,
If I restart or something like that with Chrome still open, it used to ask me restore pages, and so I would say yes, so I didn't have to lose everything. But now
yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
It takes like 19 years for it to restore all the pages I had open, and then I end up having to log in anyways. So, but oh, I hate to lose all my tabs. Restore to defaults in settings. See, we learned stuff here. You guys come to learn from.
Yeah, exactly.
Open a ticket. We can fix that for you. Touche, touche.
Drop the links. We'll submit a ticket.
Jason.
What's the support address?
That's too funny.
Startup.
Rob, okay, so how can we get a Synchro T-shirt? So on our website, if you go to the career section, we have some openings. So come work with Synchro and you'll get some swag. And I have a referral link as well if anyone would like for me to send that to you. Let me know if you have questions. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's so funny. That's actually.
Or if we have conferences again,
Yes.
hopefully soon, join us at one of those.
Rob, we hire in Canada too. No problem. We have some folks that have been recently joining our team from Canada. So yes, welcome.
Yeah. Yes. Well, this actually has been super fun open office hours, and I really, really enjoy doing these every Friday. So thank you for Tatiana and Brandy. You guys are the best and are so knowledgeable on the product, and I appreciate your humor. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you all for the questions, hanging out with us today. Hope to see you next week, and have a really awesome, happy, healthy, safe weekend. All right.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.